Yes, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Sportsman Bet Preview. My name is Stephen Howson, joined as usual by my mate Anton. You alright?
Alright, my mate.
And we are going to be talking about Champions League. We are going to be talking about the sack race. We have got some massive winners again this week, some losers. We're going to talk about the FA Cup. And we are going to be giving you our bets for this weekend's FA Cup special. So let's kick it off then with the Champions League, the champions.
Yeah, where do we start? Steve, you were there on Tuesday night, weren't you?
Do we have to start here?
Man United,
do we really have to start here?
Man United v PSG? Yes, we do, I'm afraid. How were they?
Do you know what? For the first half an hour, there's only one team winning that game, and it was not the French. It was definitely going to be United. We looked fantastic. We pressed from the front. We got amongst them. Lingard and Rashford finding space, combining really well. Midfield looked good. And then it started to fall apart. I think Marquinhos started to get a bit of a shackle on Pogba.
Yeah.
Martial wasn't really getting the balls. Shaw was a little bit hesitant when he had the ball to hit it into the channel for Martial. And then the experience. I mean, yes, all right. There was missing Neymar. There was missing Cavani. They bring in Draxler, and Mbappe
he had a
takes
great
the rest.
game, Draxler. Great game.
They're a phenomenal side, and it's just shown how far away United are from that top European elite so far. I thought 10 out of our 11, we could have competed with that. But when you pull José Lingard out, who I think is massively key to what we do, I don't think people really fully get exactly what he offers to that team. And you pull Anthony Martial out, and it means the only threat pace you've got on the counter, which is what we were trying to play, is Marcus Rashford, which means they can double mark that guy. Because you can be like, I'm not even going to bother marking Wamata. He ain't getting in behind us. It's just not going to happen. And you saw with how dangerous Mbappe looked, that pace is going to win these games. Mad 10 minutes where they scored 2 goals, and they are quite rightly probably already through into the next round. They was deserved winners, but the 2 subs and the second half of madness.
So United are actually 14-1 to qualify now. When you spoke about the 10 minutes of madness, and for me, I thought Ole was at the wheel, but it was more like Prince Philip was at the wheel there. Prince Philip's at the wheel. But anyway, less about that. Ole's future. How do you think that's a deciding factor in when he gets a job? No,
absolutely not. The fact that we've gone 10 wins in 12 games, 1 loss, 1 draw, phenomenal. Because I remember when Solskjaer when Jose was here, I was going, Paris going to knock us out. And this is a massively experienced manager that's won the Champions League, and we were still going out. So why now you would expect that Solskjaer should have beaten them? He shouldn't have beaten them. We thought he could, and the fact that we had the confidence going into that game is testament enough to what Ole has done since he's been here. The fact that we even believed we could be in that game. The atmosphere was rocking. Apparently it didn't sound like that on the TV from what I've heard, but where I was in the Stretford end, it was absolutely rocking. People was in there hours early. They couldn't wait for it. And we felt, for the first half an hour, it felt like United was back a little bit. It felt like we was competing in a big European tie. Then the wheels fell off. But for half an hour we was deluded into thinking we was actually back in the mix. And I think it just shown, didn't it, that the backup players, those substitutes, that fringe player that we've got isn't quite up to the standard, or isn't quite what Ole needs. Because I think like players won't matter, as good as they are, I just don't think they suit his system. So I think, yes, we are probably now out. It's not a case of, we'll focus on the league now. No, we're just out, so we have to do something in the league. So let's just concentrate on getting the top 4. And it was always going to be what the ride was anyway. And we're never winning it,
no Cavani or Neymar either. Can you imagine if they were playing?
It might have gone different if they was playing. They might have had a different plan. They might not have focused on trying to prevent Pogba so much. They might have focused on their own game. They might have left leaks at the back. It's a team game, innit? So you change one thing, the whole dynamic of that match changes. And actually, them not having them might have made them slightly more cautious in midfield, worry about what we're going to do with the ball, and then obviously the misfortune that we had. I mean, if they was playing, maybe Lingard doesn't get injured. And maybe the game just goes a completely different way. I mean, in theory, you would go, having Cavani and Neymar back in the team is probably going to be an absolute nightmare for us. But you never know. What if Neymar never tracked back as much as Di Maria did? What if Mbappe on the right-hand side rather than down the middle didn't cover for Luke Shaw on that right-hand side, on their right-hand side, our left-hand side? Like, you don't know the dynamics that change by mixing up one player or 2 players. So look, the end of the day is they beat us 2-0. They beat us fair and square. Despite some dodgy refereeing decisions, they were miles better than us.
8 yellow cards, I believe there was.
I thought I was getting one, the way he was giving them out. I thought I was next.
I actually had a look, and the record is 12. Record is 12. In the final between Atletico and Real, I think it was in 2016, there was 12 in that one. Quite remarkable.
I thought the referee lost it, actually. He gave that many yellow cards out in the first half.
Kimpembe could have been off the pitch.
Should have been off the pitch. Such is life.
Spurs, what a performance last night. 3-0 over Dortmund.
And Dortmund are lying.
I know.
Flying.
Great performance that. The team flying in the Bundesliga. Jadon Sancho, we got to see some of him. I enjoyed that. But yeah, 3-0 to Spurs. What a performance. And do you see them qualifying now?
If they don't, they messed it up royal when they go to Germany, aren't they? So, yes, you have to say Spurs are definitely going to be in the round, probably with PSG.
And with the bookmakers, they've got Spurs at 1-20 to qualify. Dortmund 12-1 around the art. And I was actually doing a bit of research this morning.
Dortmund are shorter odds than United are after losing 3-0 to R2 now. Tells you everything you need to know.
Yes, it does, yeah. And I was also looking this morning at Spurs with and without Harry Kane. And with Harry Kane this season, they've got a 67% win ratio.
It's not bad.
Without him, it's only 66, which shows how well players like Son, who was outstanding last night.
Son is mega underrated.
He's no longer underrated.
He's not rated. But if you want to get nerdy, if you look at the expected goals, I think Son's expected goals is actually higher than Harry Kane per shot, something along those lines, because he doesn't take as many shots as Harry Kane.
But he's a very accurate man. A very accurate man. He is.
Top
he
player.
is. And so, yes, on to the title race. But it was a big week.
Are United in it yet?
Not quite. But City 6, Chelsea 0. We've got to start with that.
That was unbelievable. That was almost a joke, wasn't it? I mean, Chelsea fans have pretty turned now on Sarri, haven't they? They have decided enough is enough. Get this. A quote I will throw from someone I know was, "Get this clown out of our club." Oh dear.
Yeah, it was like me on Valentine's Day. I had my pants taken right down. But anyway, 6-0. Remarkable performance. And Sarri is he losing it, do we think?
Yeah, I mean, he came out and criticised his players. And when you come out and criticise your players, that's usually the writing on the wall, is that you've got to keep that stuff in-house. You can't come out into the press and be like, some of these lot just aren't trying. They just don't get it. And when that starts to happen, and when that starts to leak out into the public domain, you know that there's even worse things being said on the training ground, worse things being said in private. So, and let's be honest, Chelsea aren't afraid of sacking a manager.
No.
They're not afraid of changing him midway through the season, despite the circumstances. So I would not be shocked for him to be gone before the end of the season.
And City took Jorginho out of the game. I feel that was key. The press was so half-hearted from Chelsea.
But they tried to do what City do instead of doing what they do. I don't get them at the moment. I just don't get them. And I hope that they don't sort it out before this weekend either. I hope that they continue this poor form.
And Liverpool, back to winning ways. A good performance, and they played some nice stuff. They were at home to Bournemouth, 3-0. We had that as a win.
We had a look, didn't we? And we looked at the odds and the amount of people that was backing Liverpool when that one was like, maybe Bournemouth's not going to be a bad shout for an upset here. No, absolutely not. There would not have been a good bet for an upset. Liverpool absolutely swatted them aside.
And I've actually been having a look at PFA Player of the Year odds, and I've got a few odds here for you. Player of the Year.
Is Ashley Young in there?
Well, favourite, we've got Virgil van Dijk, 5-4. Sergio Aguero, 4-1. Salah, 6-1. David Silva, 10-1. Sterling, 14-1. And Son, 25-1. Who would be taking your interest?
Aguero, I think, probably. He's been fantastic this season.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be a Liverpool player, so it's clearly going to be Aguero. Do you know what it usually is? It's never the player of the season. When you look over the course of a season,
it often goes to someone who's not won the league.
Yeah, and that. I mean, David Ginola won it in 1999. I can't remember what United did in 99, but I think we did all right. I can't remember what Tottenham did, but I think they did nothing. But if you look at where the player of the month goes to, it's usually the guy that's in form from December, January, February, March. Someone has a good 3-4 month there, player of the year. You could have had an absolutely unbelievable first 4 months of the season, and you won't be in it for a sniff if you're not in form around that time of the season.
Yeah, so, and I think 4-1 is a decent
Why did
price
he do it early in the season? Why don't you do it before the end of the season? Because you could have a very critical key last 3 or 4 games that goes on and pushes your team to win something. I mean, nowhere near. Ridiculous. I agree. And now on to the sack race, mate. And we have got an odds-on favourite in Maurizio Sarri. Now odds-on 5-6 to be the next manager to leave. But him and Silva as well. I mean, we've been talking about both of those,
Both
haven't
of them.
we? For a long time on here.
I think we mentioned them both at double-figure prices a few weeks back.
Can you get a double on them both to go before the end of the season?
I'll have to,
buying money, that.
I'll have to look into that one, but Marco Silva's actually 3-1 now to be the next manager to go, and they lost away at Watford, which we thought they would. It was my bet of the week last week, but yes. Another defeat and another bad
they've got United, I think, in April, and there's no way he's still going to be there after all the home games they've got. It's a brutal running.
The next league game is away at Cardiff, and then it is the 4 home games that are really, really tough.
I actually think that if they lose that away game at Cardiff, out of there.
And do you know what else I saw this morning as well? For the next Everton manager, 4-1, a certain José Mourinho. What about that? What about that? Do you want to see him in the Prem? Do you think he'd suit Everton? Tell me now, please.
I don't know if he'd suit Everton, actually.
And I don't know if I want him back. I feel like we've done this so many times now.
I thought his appointment at United made quite a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, stylistically, it wasn't what United are all about, but as a figure that you think United and Woodward would probably appoint, it did make a hell of a lot of sense. High-profile manager, high-profile club. If he goes to Everton, is that José Mourinho admitting that now maybe he is not the top drawer in the world? Because Everton...
It would have to be.
I'm sorry this sounds a bit harsh, but you are not a top-tier club, and if you think you are, you're just wrong. So I think if he starts to come down there now and look like he's going for a second-tier team...
It is. He's at a turning point in his career, isn't he?
Because I think he could probably still... find himself in a top job in maybe a secondary league, maybe in France, maybe Monaco. That's not a bad place to go and live, is it? I think Monaco, they probably got the pull to pull Jose in. That wouldn't be a bad shout for him. And a league that's probably winnable with a little bit of investment, which I'm sure they could find for him. So, I don't think he's going back to Real Madrid anytime soon. No. Could he go back to Chelsea, though?
Has he burnt too
Third
many
time
bridges?
lucky, though. But you thought that after the first sacking, didn't you? But
I know. You wouldn't write it off.
I wouldn't write it off. Him and Roman. Let's get the band back together, lads.
Yes, and we've also, Stephen, had another winner of the Perfect 10.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Another winner of the Perfect 10. 10 grand for nothing. Didn't even have to pay anything.
Free entry.
Free to play. And this lad, in fact, was 18, and it was his birthday the week before. The first time you've played. Well done, sir.
What sort of state is he in this weekend?
He'll have his...
He'll have a good time. He'll have a good time this weekend.
He will have a good time, and he's not the only winner I've seen this week. I also saw a lad, Kian William, who had a £10 bet on Willy Bolly to be the next goal scorer in the Wolves v Newcastle game the other night.
What minute did he put that on?
I'm not too sure. I think it was in the second half at some point, but £10 returned £1,000. Well played, sir. But that is not the bet of the week that I've seen. The bet of the week that I have seen
is ludicrous, by the way.
This is ludicrous. It came in the Man City v Chelsea.
I don't even know why you find these options to put these bets on. Go on.
You need to tell us. So what it was £10 on Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling, both to score in both halves, and that was 200-1. £10 returned over £2,000. Fair play to Ryan Bray. Well done.
How? I want to see the bets that lost, because that can't. You can't just be going like, I'm gonna have that. Thank you.
What a winner. Oh, well done,
unbelievable.
Sir. And actually, looking ahead now to this week, we've got the FA Cup, Stephen.
Love the FA Cup.
And the big tie this round is Monday night, Chelsea at home to United. And the bookies actually have Chelsea as big favourites to this, which I'm struggling to believe. They've got Chelsea at around even money and United at 5-2, which... I think that could be a decent bit of value in United.
I think so. I've got a cheeky little bet just for the United and Chelsea game, and that is 4.5 goals, more than 4.5 goals.
Yes.
It's Ander Herrera to get booked any time, and it's Marcus Rashford to score any time. So,
and
33-1.
33-1.
And I'm not even saying he's winning. I'm just saying he's going to be more than well, there's going to be 5 goals.
Yeah, and you can get that in the link below, and I think that's a great shout. I think we're
33-1.
We're expecting quite an open, lively game, aren't we?
Look at the way Chelsea defend. Absolutely. And maybe the way United defend as well a little bit. Newport
County are at home to Man City.
Now, I'm sure you lot are going to have some fun with the bets on this one. How many people have gone for 10-0? There's going to be a couple of you after the Burton thing.
There will be. There'll be a good few. But I don't think Aguero will start. I think they'll start Jesus, and I still can see a convincing performance.
I reckon you're in for a good 6 goals, City fans.
And what I will say as well, I think most of them goals will come in the first half. City get the job done, chill out for the second half. Played around, you know what I mean? I've seen a bit of that from them.
You got a bet for this weekend then?
Well, I actually spoke to the Squirrel again.
How's he doing?
Well, he had two winning trebles on the bounce, didn't he? And he was let down last week by Southampton, who were beaten at home by Cardiff. They got Warnocked, and fair play to Cardiff, dogging it out.
Come on, Hassan Hootle, we're all pulling for you.
They got done by the Warnock. Now, I've spoke to the Squirrel again, and he's got a treble for us this week. Okay. It actually comes from the Football League, and the first part of his treble is Sheffield United to win at home to Reading. Sheffield United are just 3 points off top now, 2 off the automatic.
Playing well this year.
Playing really well.
Some fun games they've had this year as well.
That's the championship all over for you.
Good story.
But they are at home to Reading. They're at home to Reading, and Sheffield United actually won 1-0 at home to Middlesbrough midweek, and that was a huge result. And I agree with the Squirrel, they're going to follow this up with a nice, easy home win against Reading. The second part of his treble is another favourite, and this time it comes from League One, where we've got Barnsley, and Barnsley are at home to Wycombe. And Wycombe are 10th in the league, and they've actually only won 2 of the last 13 away from home. And the Squirrel says this will be a tough test for those boys, and I agree. Barnsley are unbeaten in 11 now, they've won 8 of those, and Luton, who were top of the league, Barnsley are 6 points behind them. Barnsley have a game in hand. Luton are away at Fleetwood this week, and I feel this could be a chance for Barnsley to close that gap and get back to the Championship. And the final part of the Squirrel's treble this week comes from Forest Green, and he's actually fancying a Forest Green home win over Yeovil. And Yeovil are in dire straits at the moment. They've actually lost 5 on the trot now, and I agree. The Vegans are seventh in the league, just on the cusp of the playoffs. They're having a great season, and I can see this being a Forest Green win. So we've got Sheffield United to win at home to Reading. We've got Barnsley to win at home to Wycombe, and we've got Forest Green to win at home to Yeovil. 3 homes, 3 different leagues, around 3-1. You might even get 7-2 on the day.
Bad. Squirrel likes those little ones like that.
He does. He's sneaky. He knows how to play it.
What have you got for this week?
Well, as we know, I had another winner last week. Watford were my bet of the week. Yes, trumpets. Anyway, I've got another one for you this week, and it's Grimsby to beat Cheltenham. And Grimsby have been a real mixed bag this season. They've gone through long periods of very contrasting form, but they're on a good run at the moment. And they are at home to Cheltenham. Grimsby are just 8 points off the playoffs, and I feel this is a chance for them to keep that playoff push alive. Cheltenham, on the other hand, have lost the last 3 away from home without scoring, and Grimsby are priced around 13-10, 11-8 here, which I think is good value for the home win. Good value. So, what about you, Stephen? What have you gone for?
Instead of going for these little ones that just bring a little bit of little in, well, listen, if you're going to win, for me, you have to win big. Otherwise, what's the point in playing?
Cock on block.
I am going for an 8-fold FA Cup away team special. Now, for those that can't follow what I'm saying, I've just picked every away team in the FA Cup this weekend. And that is it. It's that simple. So it's basically, it is Watford to beat QPR, it is Derby to beat Brighton, Millwall to beat Wimbledon, it's City to beat Newport, I know you're a bit shocked with that one, it's Wolves to beat Bristol City, it's Palace to beat Doncaster, it's Brentford to beat Swansea, and of course, United to beat Chelsea. That's coming in around about, depending where you go, 490 to 1, which means a fiver. Gonna get you about $2,500. That's worth winning for me.
And I think that's decent value when you consider that 5 of those are favourites. So for me,
most of them are favourites. The tricky game, I think, is going to be the Brentford-Swansea one and the United-Chelsea one. And I think apart from that, you're in a decent bet for the rest of them. And maybe City and Newport. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Good luck with that, Stephen.
Good luck if you're going to play it. If you want to get on there, the link will be in the description below.
Yep, and you can find more from us at the Sportsman Bet on Twitter, and we'll be back with more next week.
So make sure to subscribe. You can find that down below. Like the video, get your comments in. What's the bets that you're going for this week? Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.